Buenos dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. She said, what? She said, what? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, she's scoping. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a tirada from Oakland. Bye up, bye up, bye up. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. You already know what it is, man. In the Menudo style in direct fashion, before we get into the spill of the day, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for everybody, every single person, every single soul, man, that's been supporting the channel, man. I appreciate you guys to the utmost. Thank you. You know, from the bottom of my heart. There's a notification bell. Put it to all so that way you're abreast of all the dope content I'm bringing all week long. And let's tell the story in its entirety like it should be told. Now, you see the thumbnail and you ask yourself, 50-50 yard. There's a lot of you individuals that watch my channel that know exactly what a 50-50 yard is. I ain't never going to a 50-50 yard gun. I mean, says you, right? But there comes a point in every man's life where he has to make a tough decision and decide exactly what he's going to do. You know, and I'm not saying everybody's going to go to a 50-50 yard. I don't even know if there's still 50-50 yards established. But I know at one point in time, the CDC had what they designated 50-50 yards. And these were yards where non-active individuals were integrated with active individuals. They were there, Holmes. I know because I was there. A 50-50 yard where I went, man, was non-active Northerners or Norteños with everyone else active, man. Everybody else was participating in the reindeer games. That's just the way it was. Now, there were some yards where Southerners weren't active and everyone else was. And then there was Bulldog yards and there were so many different yards, man. And this is the way that the system felt that they had to do because of so many different, safety concerns or so many different, gangs and things that were going on in politics. So this is just the way it went down. But I found myself on a 50-50 yard. And it was crazy because I actually found myself there twice. The first time I got off, I was still active. I knew it wasn't a place for me to be. And I left. And I was unknowing exactly what the program entailed. See, I was weak-minded, gente. I was under the assumption, in order to, prove my masculinity and prove who the fuck I was, that I had to get off. I was just going with the flow, man, and going according to rules and regulations. That's it. Guard, did I do a good job? You didn't. And that's just it, right? But I found myself back there, after rocking and rolling, man, and going through the, the motions. I found myself on this yard, and I wanted to talk about, something that doesn't get talked about a lot, and it's called the free pass. And it was a despicable thing, man. And it befuddled me, and it definitely discombobulated my program because I had never seen nothing like this prior to getting to this yard. Growing up, going through CYA, you didn't get no passes, man. There was no punches being held. Wherever the fuck they put you is where they put you, man. You had to do what you had to do. And believe me, we were young, skinny, ugly, acne-faced kids just doing what we had to do. But there was no room for wiggle. There was no room for PCing up, or there was no room for checking in, or there was no room for, hey, I can't go here or I can't go there. You went where they put you and you fought your way and called your way off that yard or off that compa, and that's just what it was. But in prison, it was a different story. It seems like administration, because of the feria that was being brought in, they wanted to basically, calm the situation, calm the problems. And maybe that was a good thing, man. Maybe that was, they made way for a lot of people like myself and others to survive, I guess. But at the end of the day, man, without telling no lies, man, I think it wasn't what it was cracked up to be. I think it caused more problems. And I think that made motherfuckers on these yards a little bit more braver and thinking they can get away with things. But the free pass is what I wanted to talk about today, gente. There was a free pass giving to people that were non-active. I know it sucks and it's just reality, man. It's just the way it was, man. I haven't heard really no one speak on it, so I felt like I should speak on it. I have in the past, like, said a few little things about it, but here's the reality and the truth in it, man. To an active gang member, man, was it a cold game? It absolutely was. Was it a setup till they were fed up? Absolutely. But it's just part of history, part of the game, part of what they did, and I was there to live and tell about it. So what they had going on was they would place active gang members, vatos that were still in the mix or with the program on these non-designated yards or these 50-50 yards. And that was a cold game because the administration already knew what time it was. They know. They see your C file. They see your G file. Man, there's very seldom times when they don't know what's up with you. They don't know who you function with, who you program with, what you're all about, man. You have a history, you know, all the way from being in reception, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, all the way from being in reception to being where you're at. And they pretty much know what's in your jacket, man. You know, whether you've been to bad yards or great yards, whether, you know, your general population, you're still active, you're with the activities, and basically what group you're from. You don't even have to self-admit and tell them. They pretty much know. They watch you, man. Just like everyone else watches everyone on them yards, in the prison yards, the administration is watching everyone. They want to see who are the movers and the shakers, who's doing what and what's doing who. They want to see who the shot callers are and who the people that are in a leadership role or the people that are looked at to be in a leadership role. This is how it works. It's a cat and mouse game, man. You have to understand that in life, it's a cat and mouse game. There's the boss, there's the worker. Dear George, Mr. George, Jaime's not doing his shot correctly, Mr. George, right? So Mr. George, in this case, would be the black guys, and the fucking Jaime would be me trying to get away and wiggle. That's just how it is. But these 50-50 yards, man, they were treacherous and dangerous. They were dangerous because you never knew every day you woke up what the program was going to entail, what was going to fucking happen. You know, all of a sudden, the guys that were active there maybe felt a certain way or some type of way that they couldn't function all of a sudden with these guys. Or the guys that were non-active felt like these guys were getting a little too aggressive or a little too crazy and they wanted to get off. Because let me tell you, quietly as it's kept, don't fucking get the misconception that these vatos that were non-active, myself and others included, weren't about the business. This was still prison. This was still pegadas. This was still shanks in the ground. This was still dig them up and handle your business. This was still checking paperwork. This was still you couldn't be telling. This was still all kinds of them fucking rules and regulations that you hear about or you watch on movies was still going on. The only difference was one particular group wasn't functioning under said organization, but that's just it. Nothing else. Everything else that you've seen in movies and that you believe to be true was absolutely facts, man. Vatos weren't playing no games. If you went there with a bad jacket or a bad reputation, or you came from another yard because you fucking had excessive gambling problems, and you were going to be checked. You were going to be checked swiftly, man. Especially when it came to the Norteño car. I can't speak for the Southerners because they had their own program going on, and I was never on a yard with them functioning like that as far as, you know, the 50-50 shit, what they had going on. But as far as Norteños, man, they still functioned correctly, man. It was still going down. There was still mandatory workouts. There was still a lot of things that you would think wouldn't be happening. But one of the things that was happening was the free pass. And that was the placas actually came to the Norteños. And this was prior to me getting there, man. I kind of just got with the flow. I remember when I first landed on the yard, I was like, what the fuck's going on here? You know what I mean? Who's active, who's not? And a homeboy from Modesto gave me the rundown. Little homeboy Shorty from Modesto pulled me to the side. He was like, look, bro, you know what I mean? The homeboys still check paperwork. We still do this. We still do that. You just know what it is. You know what time it is, man. Everybody is over here for one reason or another, but ain't no one over here for being no punk, Holmes. A lot of people got fucking removed or whacked, bad calls, and a lot of people maybe did roll it up. I don't know. You know what I mean? I wasn't sitting there asking their fucking life stories. I just knew I got me a couple camaradas, a couple real righteous dudes, and that's who I fucked with, man. We did push-ups together. We ate together. I tried not to spread my wings, my Huelga bird wings, and fly with everybody because I didn't know exactly what everyone was into, and everyone didn't know what I was into. It's just what it was. I was just happy to be doing my time and getting the fuck on down the road, period. Plain and simple, man. You guys want truth? This is truth, right? So I'm kicking it, and the homeboy pulls me to the side right when I get there, gives me the rundown. Hey, bro. But the first thing they did prior to that is called the free pass. The first thing they did was monitor me and SB me. And now SB means a security blanket, right? So they were on me just like if I hit a GP yard, just like if I hit an active yard. There was posts on me watching my every movement and everything I did. The first thing they did was have about 6 big-ass motherfuckers come up to me on the yard, and they said, hey, are you active, homie? And I said, oh, shit, how do I answer that? What if I say, you know what I mean? I'm not, but fuck it. I'll just flight, right? And I've seen so many cases where vatos took flight because they didn't know how to answer that question. But the best response that you can give when you're in a situation like that is to answer truthfully and let the chips lie where they may, Hums. Let the dominoes fall, both the doors, right? That's just what you do. So vatos were like, hey, homie, are you active? I was like, Charlie, homie, why, what's up? Dropped my bag and was like, you know what I mean? Let's get it. Fool's gone wild right now. And the vatos were like, oh, all right, that's what's up, homie. This is a 50-50 yard. This is how the get down is, Holmes. You know what I mean? So they were applying pressure. Basically, they were watching me. They were looking at me, monitoring me. Now, they did this for a total of 72 hours. And I'm going to tell you why they did it for 72 hours. Because anyone who was a Norteño knows, man, that usually when you get to a bad yard or a yard that you're not supposed to be on, you have about 72 hours, 3 days to get off, to get the fuck on down the road, man. You know, most vatos don't take that long. Some do. Some take to the 72nd and a half hour, right? But most vatos are not going to take that long. They're going to get off immediately in R&R like I did the first time I got there, or they're going to get off as soon as they hit their compa. They're going to identify a target and smash. But most people, or a lot of people, right, were taught, to utilize, gather information, find out who's there, man, because there might be vatos that are not on the bad news list that have wiggled by and escaped by, and then they're going to get out and play active when they get out and tell their homeboys, oh, yeah, parole from Salinas Valley, right there, it's popping. There was hella homeboys, hip-hop, hooray, ho, really, I'm a ho, right? Nah, there wasn't going to be none of that. So for 72 hours, these vatos, these non-active norteños would monitor vatos just based on, man, they knew if a vato stood there to the 74th hour, he was no longer in great standing. He's no longer good. Now, I've seen many manipulation type things going on with the administration. You motherfuckers, guard, you, right, would play vatos out of pocket. They would actually snatch someone who they felt was highly active or was really about the business. They would snatch him up from R&R, throw him in the oil for over 72 hours, showing that they actually functioned right there on that yard, so that way they were washed up. That was a way of washing people up and basically turning them non-active. And the cool part about it is, depending upon if you got your due process and what yard you went to eventually, say you fucking go, they throw you in the oil for 72 hours, you come out, you get off like you're supposed to, they send you to Salinas Valley, High Desert, wherever, and the wrong vato's on the yard, and he can't read correctly, and all he sees was that you functioned there for 3 days, or you were there for 4 days, more than likely you're going to get regulated on, right? You're going to get removed, and then your situation's all bad. Your career's over just based upon the fucking cops didn't like you. So that's why you shut your mouth. That's why, you don't say anything to the cops. You don't act out of the ordinary, Holmes. You answer all questions correctly or don't answer them depending upon how you feel about the situation, and you just wiggle, smash on, and do what you do. That's the only advice I could give you, is do what you do. Now, the cool part about the free pass was the norteños that were actually there, the non-active northerners, because they still considered themselves norteños. They were just not of the non-active sort, meaning that they didn't function under the organization, but they still believed in the northern cause, and they still believed that they were fighting for something. I wasn't under that assumption, man. I was a non-active norteño that was simply that, non-active. I wasn't gangbanging no more. I was out the mix, man. Hey, you can't go to the minors when you've been in the majors, Holmes. I'm not going from Mark McGuire to Mark Aguirre. I'm just not doing that. So, basically, my program was to get the fuck on and get out, period. I knew what time it was. I was laced up well enough and had functioned with righteous homeboys for a long time and many years to know, man, it didn't matter what you thought you were or who the fuck you thought you weren't no more, period. There's no wiggle room. There's no explanation. There's no trying to justify your actions. If you function on a yard that's deemed not necessary or deemed not no good, man, then you're no good. Let's just keep it real, man. As a person, as a man, you might be the most fucking righteous man in the world, a hitter, solid as they come. But in the eyes of those who it counts to, if you're in that gang world, you're not good no more. Spensa, it's just the way it goes. Spensa la tira. Bye-bye. See you later. So the cool part was, I guess administration, these placas had went up to the non-active northerners. Now, this was prior to me getting there, and let them know that they had a free pass. Meaning if any of these norteños came that were trying to fly under the radar, or were active, but were playing the non-active role so they can get off, so they can catch these vatos lacking and hit them with the element of surprise, they were allowed to plaquear them. They were allowed to smash them, jump them, as long as they didn't use no weaponry, and weaponry was used several times. But as long as they weren't using weaponry, man, and they just got off, they wouldn't be rode up. They wouldn't even go to the oil most of the time. They just smashed this vato, and it was all that dude's fault because he came over here with an agenda. And that was a cold game. See, I never participated in that, and the reason I didn't, and I was never asked to, was all on a voluntary basis. And it wasn't because I was a punk and I was scared. It's because I didn't want to jump on my own people. I still considered these vatos my gente. Vatos that I grew up with, people that I functioned with in several prisons and did time since a young buck in YA with, man. There was no way I was going to jump on my own people unless I had a personal issue or an agenda with them. But just because they were still doing what they had to do, I wasn't jealous, homie. Wasn't no jealous bone. Jealousy, don't wanna. Nah, none of that, man. This ain't no Club Nouveau or whoever the fuck sings that song shit. I wasn't into that. It was kind of like, hey, expect it. Expect, not the unexpected, but expect the realness. You got to understand that these vatos are doing what we all once did, or what we were all once supposed to do. There's a lot of vatos that never did that, That's why they're on them yards. That's why they're functioning there, because they never took the initiative. A lot of them never even went to general population. They never tried it out. They never taste tested. They never went out there to see exactly what it is, the canalismo, the embracement, the love, the respect, the education, and everything that you get and that's instilled in you. A lot of Vatos just checked in from the gate, from the cop car, like, fuck this, I'm gone, eh? You know what I mean? I don't want to participate, because either one, they had fucking bad cases or something that looked fraudulent and funny on their case, or two, they just weren't cut like that, or three, they just didn't want to do it because they were lazy. I hate lazy people. So I remember one particular incident, man. Now, I was knowing this because the homeboy Shorty from Modesto told me, like, hey, bro, we get a pass. And I said, what do you mean a pass? Eh? Like, okay, I can get out and go home and, you know, bone somebody or something? What's going on, right? He's like, no. What happens, bro, is if these Vatos come and they try to make a movida, we can get off. We won't even get in trouble. As long as we don't body the Vato. If we don't unalive them, we're good, eh? And I was like, for real? Serio? Why would we do that, though? Why would we jump on homeboys? They say, shit, they're going to get off on us. We got to get off on them. We got to protect ourselves, eh? And I said, righteously, I understand that. It's all about fucking self-preservation and safety and security and protecting yourself. Because these Vatos are trying to do you ill. They look at you as the enemy anyways. But me, I'm a kind-hearted individual, man. I didn't never see anyone as an enemy, man. I seen them as someone that I was no longer affiliated with, but I didn't hate. See, I never hated the Norteño cause. I still don't to this day, man. Because they didn't do nothing to me. It was a few bad apples that spoiled the whole damn bunch. It wasn't everybody, man. I truly believed in the wig on what was really going on. And I knew, man, that we needed every fucking spoke in that Dayton. Besides scared, there was some nipples and a knockoff. And we just couldn't have that. So I dropped off, right? And that was it. But definitely... these Vato came, right? I think he was from Delano, Delas, if I'm correct. Down there somewhere in Kern County, right? And so the Vato comes in, and I could tell right from the gate, man, the way his eyes are shifting, that he's going to get off, man. He's going to do something. And there was a couple homeboys from Salas, the homie from Modesto, another homeboy from Greenfield, Grifas. And they were like kind of like the main homeboys there. It wasn't shot caller shit, but you know, that 831 car, that fucking, that Salas car is always thick, man. Anywhere you go, whether it be active, non-active, they're just thick. And they kind of have a little say so, man. That's just the way it was. And Vatos are like, hey, we need to watch this Vato. This Vato, he's active, homie. We could tell, right? And there was conversations being held, and I was like, well, do what you do. You know what I mean? I'm going to be over here doing burpees. Oh, my. And that's it. It wasn't but 2 days later, started going off on the yard. Everybody hit the deck. We're like this. So scared, what's happening? We already knew what was happening. The homies were rocking and rolling, man. It was red on red in a fucking vicious fashion, and they were hitting this Vato. Bam, 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 bam. Here's the cool part about the situation, man. Come to find out later on, going to the Oyo and doing time with this guy from Delano in the Oyo, man. I think he was from Delano. He might have been from a little town outside of Delano. But anyways, he was going to stay. You know, a lot of Vatos would get there with the intentions to get off and do their thing. Like, he was active, man. He was, man. He just got put there in a bad situation. But he had decided that if for no other reason, he was just going to do his time. At least that's what he told me. That's what he said. But he didn't get the chance, man. Everybody that was involved in that incident right there ended up catching a whole lot of time, right? Now, I say the free pass because I see several incidents, several situations where Vatos would get off. Nothing, Holmes. They wouldn't get took to the Oyo. The active Vato would be all ripped up to shreds. He'd go to the Oyo, and I've seen some where the active Vatos came and got off and handled their business, put motherfuckers on their pockets. But in this case, because they chose to use weaponry, they were gone, man. And I remember thinking to myself, damn, what happens now in this situation? We just lost 4 soldados, 4 real motherfuckers, man, that were about the business, you know, or we're willing to fucking put it down. And then I would think to myself too, but why wouldn't you do that on the main line? I don't know what their situations happened. Well, you know, I never asked them their personal business. But it was just a bad situation. I was like, man, Mexican on Mexican, brown on brown, red on red, north on north. It's just a fucking ugly thing, man. When's it gonna stop? One never knows, does one, you know? All because an element of thinking, a mindset was fucking dumb, right? Stupid doodle dumb, like a fucking Mac Dre song. So anyways, these Vatos go to the Oyo, and I remember thinking, damn, we got less numbers now. Now what's gonna happen? I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. The Woods were like, brother, it's time to make our move, brother. There's only, 6 of them left? Well, it's time to say fuck them, right? Mexicans. Of course, this never happened, but I could see their beady eyes. They were starting to look at us up and down like lunch meat, you know what I mean? But I ain't baloney, homie. You know what I mean? Because that's some baloney. So trip out. I remember the homeboy getting at me. One of the homeboys, man, he was like, hey, bro, he was from Sacra. He was like, hey, we got to get at these white boys, homies. They're tripping, right? So, yeah, we went up to him and it was like, hey, bro, you know what I mean? hey, what happened happened. That was between our own people. And they were like, no, Wood, we're not tripping, just as long as you guys just function and do your program, we'll do ours. There was no punking going on. There was none of that. I know in different places, like Susanville, I heard, man, the whites got off with the non-active Northerners. And I heard a lot of different situations, a lot of different things. You got to understand, every yard is different, man. When you hear your homeboy, hey, I just got off this yard and I got that, you better check his credibility, check his credit score, check his FICA, because I'm going to tell you right now, Holmes, don't believe all the stories you hear, man. A lot of these motherfuckers go to these yards and they kick back. You heard Crip Mac, 55th, because I was on the 55th yard. He was on the 50-50 yard. Of course, man, when it comes to a lot of the brothers, man, there are some that are going to trip on that. They're going to be like, nah, fuck that, Holmes. Because the way I look at it, man, is if you function with non-active people, Holmes, then you are what you are. Birds of a feather flock together. Don't act like you're cool now all of a sudden, right? Or that you get a pass or it's all good. With the brothers, man, a lot of them ain't gonna trip. They just do their time. And then a lot are, Devault was on the 50-50 yard, just did his thing, got out, man, and he's Mac adventured, and everybody's tripping off of him, or watching him and loving it. It's just part of the game. Someone like myself, though, I'm hated, for going there. It's just the politics, man. It's the way we wiggle. Anyways, with that being said, man, the free pass, man, that's what a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of the fucking non-active Norteños were allowed by administration to get off on active Norteños, man. That was a cold game. I seen some of them and I was just like, fucking traitor, bandito shit, I wanted to get off of that yard. That's how bad it was. With that being said, off that you move smooth with a purpose. And it ain't never good, man. It ain't never good. I know I did red on red. I know, Holmes, but that was personal. That was personal. You know what I mean? I had to handle my business. But as far as just getting off on a homeboy because fucking he's active, nah, I don't play that shit, Holmes. See, I didn't join a fucking dropout gang and all that to fucking, have odds and adversaries, man. I'm my own man. I'm just gonna do me. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the struggle to strive to struggle, man. What do you truly believe, Raza? Do you think that was right? I thought that was bad on all fronts and all parts, man. But that's just the way it is. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I believe in, and that's unity of all the Raza, all the gente. Woods, even you, brothers. Come on. Bang, bang.